Hi guys, so in this video I just kind of want to discuss kind of where I'm at with my collection because I've been feeling a certain way about it lately. I know I posted my collection plans for the year last month, and honestly it hasn't really changed. My collection plans in general haven't really changed. It's just kind of how I'm feeling in regards to what I'm keeping. I don't know if that really makes sense, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that I have a lot of things that I'm not sure if I want to keep or continue collecting. Some of this is kind of with albums, some of this is mostly with like my photo card collections. I just kind of feel like at the moment I'm like just kind of stressed out by my own collection, and it's not so much the fact that like I'm like broke or something and I'm trying to afford other things. That's not it. I'm just kind of like in my mind trying to come to a conclusion on whether or not what I have and what I'm keeping and what I'm continuing to collect is what I want. Like if it's what I want, and if it's what I want to continue to collect. Because right now, February 2019, it will have been 3.5 years since I've started collecting, and throughout this entire time that I've been collecting, I haven't really gone through much of a phase. I wouldn't say it's a phase. I don't really know what other word to use, but I haven't really gone through a period of time where I've grown out of certain groups, I'd say, and like have sold all their stuff. And so what's kind of going through my mind right now is like, do I want to keep collecting these things? Because like I mentioned, 3.5 years, there's some things that I have now that I've had since I started collecting, and they were like the first things I bought. Yeah, I've never like up until this point, I feel like I've never kind of asked myself these questions of whether or not the things that I have are the things that are like making me happy, or the things that I'm happy to have in my collection still, or if I'm indifferent about having it in my collection. This past 1.5 to 2 years, my collection has taken a very huge kind of turn in a different direction, and I don't collect a lot of the same groups I used to. I don't keep up with a lot of the same groups that I used to, I guess in the same way that I used to, because I'll give some examples of this. One is Twice. I really like Twice still, but back when I first started collecting, I considered them an alt group. They were my ultimate girl group, and now 3 years later, I can't say I'm nearly as into them as I used to be. As much as I like some of their music, it's not all for me. I have most of their releases, but don't find myself wanting to keep up with them in the same way as I used to. So this is where the question comes to mind of whether I want to keep collecting them at all. And that's hard. That's like a hard question, because in an ideal situation, yes, I would still collect them, but also since my collection has taken such a huge change in direction, I feel like maybe it's not the right thing for me to do. Another example of this is SF9. So like SF9, when they first debuted, I really loved them, and I loved them all the way up until like Easy Love era, so like after their third release, I guess, and then I just kind of started to fall out of liking their music a whole bunch. I ended up not just feeling the same way about their music as I did before. Like after they released Mamma Mia is when I kind of fell off with them. I just haven't kept up with them in the same way since. Their collection that I have as of right now is really small. I only had 3 of their albums, and then up to Mamma Mia and like forward, that's when I kind of stopped buying their albums. Like I have decided that I'm not collecting SF9 anymore, but I'm going to keep Feeling Sensation and Breaking Sensation, just because those eras have a little bit more of a special place in my heart than the others that I have. But that was a collection that was so much easier to kind of back off from, because I only had 3 of their albums, and I don't have this huge kind of collection for them. I don't really have too much of a huge history with them. as compared to like Twice. So that collection honestly was a lot easier to kind of take a step back from and say I don't necessarily need to continue to buy their albums, especially because I haven't bought one of their albums since 2017. It's been 2 years. It's kind of easier in my mind to say that like I don't need to do this anymore. And also some other groups that I've just been kind of not wanting to collect anymore, not necessarily because I don't like their music, but because I just need to make a lot more room for other things. And a few of them are Gugudan. Gugudan honestly has not been releasing music good enough for me to want to buy their albums. I had their first two, but nothing after that. And it's not to say that I don't like their music, because for the most part I do. It's just like their title tracks really only though. And I haven't really gotten into any of their B-sides. And I only really like any of the B-sides on their first album. And past that, none of their B-sides are really that good to me. And also, I've decided to stop collecting Wiki Mickey, which again, it's not to say that I don't like their music, because actually their second mini album is so good and I like that entire album so much. And I really like this past single that they just released, but it's just kind of like having to take a step back and say, I don't necessarily need this to be a part of my collection. And I don't know, sometimes it can be easier for me to say I don't need to buy things anymore, but sometimes it can be a lot harder, like I said with Twice. And again, even a similar situation with Twice is how I'm feeling with 17, because I have not felt the same way about 17 as I used to for a very long time. I used to ult them, and I did up until late 2017. And then they just kind of started to release music that I wasn't a huge fan of, so I stopped following them for a while. And I still, to this day, don't follow them in the same way that I used to. They've been kind of releasing music recently that I've been more into, but it's also kind of hard to kind of justify buying their albums, because I had kept up with their releases for so long, and then once Teenage came out, I bought that album, and I had planned on buying 3 versions of it because I had already bought one, so I'd wanted to do that, but I never got around to it. And I liked getting their albums in chronological order because I always had gotten them like when they first released. And so I think that's kind of one of the reasons I stopped buying their albums, is because I didn't like Teenage, so I only bought one version of it, and then I just kind of kept falling out of their music and just not liking it as much as I had used to. This most recent album that they put out though, I do like that a lot, but it's also like I cannot justify buying it. And because I don't see my 17 collection going anywhere in the future, I'm considering whether or not I should sell my albums, or maybe just keep one version of the album. It's just really hard for me because, like, up until the Alone album, I love that entire part of their discography, and I just have so many fond memories of collecting their albums and stuff because, I don't know, it was more of the beginning times of my collection, so I have more of an emotional attachment to those things. And yeah, I just find it really hard. But also, kind of in that same vein, with my photo card collection, I've been having a lot of trouble on what I should keep and what I should maybe stop collecting. Again, I kind of stopped collecting SF9. So from SF9 I would collect Taeyong photo cards, but I had only had 4 of his photo cards out of however many SF9 has now. They probably have so many. And for the longest time I told myself I would catch up. But this is also something I noticed. I just don't buy photo cards like I used to, and kind of the way I go about, you know, trading and buying these days is a lot different. When I first started collecting, I did not sell any of my photo cards, but I would also collect my biases. So I was basically just buying photo cards for my collection and not using trading as a way to kind of build up my collection. And I didn't start trading for a while actually, because I didn't start trading and selling until I made my Instagram account, which was not until about 2017, I think. So I had 2 years of collecting under my belt before I had started really getting into the whole buying and selling and trading online. So I was a lot more enthusiastic about buying cards, but I just don't do that as much as I used to. And so that really took a toll on a lot of my collections actually. So SF9 is one of them. And also like my WJSN collection, I had collected Subin before, but I had most of her cards up until Dream Your Dream, but after that I just decided that I don't ever plan to buy her photo cards. I haven't been buying WJSN albums, so I don't have anything to trade with, so I'm just not gonna collect her cards anymore because it's not a real important part to my collection to me anymore. So that's kind of where I went with that. And also I feel like it's kind of the same way with my newest collection. I collect JR, but for now I do plan to keep his cards that I have, but I am really behind and I find it really hard to figure out in my mind when I would ever plan to catch up. And that's the kind of thing that gets me, is that I will get really behind and I'll just kind of lose interest in moving forward with it, but then I'll also kind of feel bad with getting rid of my collection. And another collection that there's two really big parts of my photo card collection that I am considering getting rid of, but also I feel like I would feel so sad about it, and I feel like I would regret it, and that's not something I want to do. Like, I don't want to regret getting rid of a part of my collection, especially one that is so important to me, or at least was really important to me. So the first one is 17. I collect June, and I have not added to that collection since the Alone album. And I used to want to collect everything of his, so I would collect, you know, extra concert merch, album cards, just literally everything. And 17 have so many things, and that's not even the reason why I stopped collecting him. Like I said before when discussing 17's albums and music, I just don't like it as much, so I wasn't buying the albums, so I didn't have anything to trade for his cards with, and I just never even considered buying his cards for the albums that I don't have, because I don't like to do that just in case I pull the member I collect. And so at this point I am really far behind. I have not gotten a single June card in years probably. I don't know, it's been so long, but I even sold parts of that collection that I didn't feel were that necessary, but for the most part I kept like all of his album cards that I have and a lot of the concert cards that I have. But I'm also considering now getting rid of them because I'm kind of thinking in my mind, what's the point of keeping them if I'm not going to add to the collection? But again, it's like really hard because of that kind of emotional attachment I had. I've been collecting his cards ever since I first started collecting, so I have just a lot of really fun and fond memories of collecting his cards from way back forever ago. So that's a hard decision I'm gonna have to make. And also with my Twice collection, so I collect Jihyo, and this collection is honestly pretty up to date. It's not completely up to date, but it's not as far behind as some of my collections, and I have like added to it a whole bunch. So again, Jihyo, she was someone I considered an alt back when I started first getting into K-pop too. So I collected all of her cards, and at one point, this was before they had like 8 million cards, but I wanted to collect all of her stuff too. But like I mentioned before, I just don't feel the same way about Twice as I used to, and I don't alt Twice, and I don't alt Jihyo as much as I love her. But I find myself not wanting to add to my Twice collection because I pulled through with getting 9 cards for What Is Love. I pulled through with getting 9 cards for Summer Nights, but Yes or Yes, that collection is kind of where I'm struggling. I just don't really have the cards to trade. I haven't been able to really find any trades, but that's not really necessarily the thing. It's just that I almost kind of feel like I'm just kind of adding to my Jihyo collection because I have it, like not necessarily because I want to, but because I feel like I have to, kind of. But honestly, my Jihyo collection is my biggest collection amongst any of the groups that I collect, and I feel like it's just kind of getting a little burdensome. Like, I don't know, like I'm just really struggling with figuring out whether I want to keep it or sell it or not, because I feel like selling it would be really hard for me, but I also feel like it'd be such a huge weight off my shoulders, something that I don't have to worry about. I don't know, it's kind of scary. It's something I will really have to think about and contemplate before I do it, because I'm going to be so upset if I sell it and then I regret it and I want everything back, because it is the collection I have made so much progress on. I have kept up with her cards so well over the years, and I almost kind of feel like I wouldn't want to get everything back, but there's also something in the back of my mind telling me that I'll regret it. I don't know. It's something just I've been thinking about a lot recently, and I don't know. So yeah, but I guess despite all of my trouble about whether or not I want to get rid of some collections, I have actually added some things into my collecting plans. This is just something to lighten it up a little, I guess. I'll tell you some new things I plan on adding to my collection. So the first thing is that now I consider NCT an alt group, so they are an alt for me, so that means that I am allowed to collect more than just album cards for them. So I decided that I'm going to collect non-album things for Taeyong, and Taeyong only. Some of my other biases potentially, but it's not something I'm really going for. Like, I'm mainly focusing on getting non-album things for Taeyong, and I'm not gonna get everything non-album for Taeyong because that stuff is really expensive, and I'm only just gonna buy some stuff, basically what I can get for cheap, just because, like, I know Taeyong is like a really expensive member, but like, I don't want to stress myself out with that part of the collection. I just want to, you know, get some things that I like for Taeyong, and I'm still mainly gonna focus on album cards, of course, which I'm almost caught up with, by the way. But I also added Impact into kind of a higher priority. So Impact released a new album, like a physical, so I bought that, and recently I've been just slowly just absolutely falling in love with Jae, so I decided that I want to collect his photo cards. It might be a bad idea because it's gonna be so hard to like finish this collection. He doesn't even have that many album photo cards in general, but they're so incredibly hard to find that it'll take me a while to kind of build that up. But like, I'm kind of excited nonetheless. I do have one of his cards on the way right now that I paid a little bit too much for, but it's okay. It's a really cute card and I'm excited about it. So yeah, that's something exciting. I also have decided that I'm going to focus just a lot more on my Hotshot collection. I've kind of finished out like a lot of the things I need for just Hotshot, like just Hotshot as a group, but I still have some things that I need to get for Hojung for UMB, and Taehyun for JBJ, and Sungwoon for 101. They all have some things from each of their respective project groups that I kind of want to get. Taehyun, not so much. I'm almost finished with that part of my collection. There's just some extra things here and there that I want to get to fill in any gaps, but there's nothing really huge there I need to get still, and there's a few things I need for Hojung for UMB. There's maybe 3 different things I need from him. I need his card from the Korean fan meeting, which was a thing like either before or around the time UMB debuted. This card is actually really hard to find, so I don't know how I'm gonna get it necessarily, but I'm hoping it'll pop up somewhere sometime. I need one of his like trading cards from a concert, and also I need his bookmark from the FanCon DVD, so there's very few things I need for Hojung still. And also for 101, Sungwoon has a lot of things that I don't have, but I kind of just want to slowly fill in my collection with whatever I know I don't have, and I'm not necessarily gonna try to complete everything because that'll just be kind of hard, near impossible, just because as much as I love Sungwoon, I'm not going to like spend a ridiculous amount on absolutely everything he has. But yeah, and I also want to get a lot of the cards from Taehyun's and Sungwoon's solos. So like, as you can tell, there's a lot of things I need to focus on for Hotshot, and I'm excited. I'm really excited to build that collection up even more because my Hotshot binder is like one of my favorite things, and I love adding to it so much. But I guess Hotshot, wanting to focus on Hotshot is a lot of the reason why I'm having a lot of trouble with trying to figure out whether I want to keep certain parts of my collection, because I want to have like a ridiculously in-depth collection of like everything Hotshot has, and I don't really have the means to do that or the room to do it, so I kind of feel like maybe selling certain parts of my collection I don't focus on too much, or you know, just don't keep up with that much would help. And it has, because I've sold a lot of things recently. Because as you, like, if you watched that one trade or sale video that I posted a couple weeks ago, I said at the beginning of it that I was kind of changing up the way I'm collecting, or like minimizing my collection, and I'm still kind of just trying to do that. I'm trying to minimize because, like, as you can tell, this is just stressing me out a little bit. Otherwise I wouldn't have talked for like 30 minutes about this, but it's just kind of difficult to get rid of things that carry so many like happy memories. At times where I get super stressed out, I just get the urge to get rid of everything that isn't an alt and just go from there, but I know that would make me extremely unhappy, and I would not like that. In the end, that would just not be a good idea for me. I just need to slowly kind of try to come to a conclusion, because I need to do what's kind of best for my collection and where I want to go with it. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that's everything I kind of wanted to talk about. If this video is really long after I edit it, I apologize. I just need to talk about things, and I just needed to get these thoughts out. However it may be, I just needed to get it out because it's been weighing on me a lot, actually, and I haven't known what to do at all, and I thought maybe saying these things out loud would help me process it a little bit better. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll update if I ever come to a conclusion, but yeah, that was basically everything for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.
안녕! 안녕!